Hey there, guys, and welcome to ABC News Highlights. My name is Nana Kwame Bobe.
My name is Golga Abadai. So, free SHS has reduced HIV infections and pregnancy among girls by 50%. The AIDS boss is saying that. The Director General of the Ghana AIDS Commission, Dr. Treme Itwahene, has credited the free senior high school policy for the 50% drop in HIV infection and teenage pregnancy cases in the country. According to him, the policy has enabled more girls to enroll in secondary schools. He cited the data from the Ghana AIDS Commission, which showed that Ghana recorded 16,574 new HIV infections in 2022 compared to the 16,938 in 2021. This means a 2% decrease in the new infection rate, according to a news report by asaseradio.com. 2%. And he says 50%. So is he saying that because the girls are going to school, HIV has reduced, teenage pregnancy has reduced? What is the correlation?
I am struggling to find a correlation to such you are, but I don't think there is any proper correlation between the two.
I know they do say that the devil finds work for, idle hands. But, I think you will have to elaborate more on what he means. Because how does, okay, going to school keeps them busy, they're studying and all that. But in effect, how does it really stop them from contracting HIV?
Mind you, with the current educational system, you go for a month and probably come home for 3 months.
Yeah.
So you're still idle for how that much long. So I don't know how there's this correlation, and I even think it is a flaw in the system if you say that formal education is the only way you can educate the populace about HIV/AIDS. What happened to the NCA? What happened to public education? Because not everybody will find themselves in a classroom. There are like hundreds and thousands of people that have already grown past high school stage and have not gone to school. So they've not benefited from free education. What happens to them? Do you refuse to educate them at all about HIV? So I think it's even a flawed statement to make and correlate it like that. And 2%. Yes.
That is not 50%.
Exactly. It's not 50%. I mean, it is something. It is like about over 2,000 people, but it's still not that a significant difference for you to make this assertion.
I mean, I think if you want to praise the policy, just praise the policy.
Exactly.
We understand that it has served some people well, and that is perfectly understandable. You can even say because of it here, 2%. So if maybe they continue, the percentage may increase. But to say that because of that 50% is a bit much.
And I think lately there's been some, for lack of better word, cheap defense when it comes to the free SHS because everybody seems to criticize it, and the people in positions of power come up, like how we discussed, as if one saying that it's better to steady and a tree than not steady at all. It's almost as if when people say this thing needs more work and this thing needs like it needs reform and it needs to get better, we say, well, it's better than nothing. And why are we even making that comparison?
We shouldn't. We shouldn't.
We shouldn't.
Please come back with, maybe a better, how do I say this, praise of the policy than, this.
Exactly. And I agree. So we're moving on to our next story. An office of the special prosecutor led by Kisi Ejabe has returned all financial assets that he seized from the ex-sanitation minister's home, and ex-sanitation minister being Mrs. Cecilia. So I think right from last year to this year, it's still been one of the biggest headlines, and it's been unraveling quite suspiciously, if you ask me. I mean, every time we learn something about this, you're like, oh. And so this time, the Office of the Special Prosecutor has returned or seized financial assets and also unfrozen the bank account of Mrs. Cecilia Dapa. I think right before the year ended, we talked about how he decided to hand the case over to Yoko over jurisdiction issues, and that his investigations has not necessarily reflected any issue of corruption or corruption related issue, but rather is reflected as a suspected money laundering issue. and structuring issue, and that is the jurisdiction of Yoko. So he cannot proceed with the case as the Office of the Special Prosecutor, so he's handed it over. And then the High Court, upon that decision at the Office of the Special Prosecutor, to unfreeze the account and return all seized financial assets within 72 hours, which he has.
I don't know if our country knows anything like accountability. Hopefully, eventually, we do.
I'm personally curious. I really want to see how Yuko also takes this case further because the OSP has been really public with this case and hoping that Yuko also give us that same level of transparency handling this issue. Will the accounts be frozen again? Will the assets be seized again because it's still under investigation, or she's just going to go on and live her best life whilst the issues are still very much pending? Let us know in the comment section what you think.
Yes. Now, Minister MP, for Ningo Pampam Sam George has something to say again to the President of the nation. He says he has ignored many violent situations in the country, and as a result, his descendants will suffer the same fate. So, Member of Parliament for Ningo Pampam Sam George has voiced his concerns over President Akufo-Addo's silence regarding the various incidents of violence that have occurred under his leadership. Speaking on the Good Morning Ghana show on Metro TV on February 2nd, Sam George highlighted the president's failure to address the killing of 8 Ghanaians during the 2020 elections and the lack of compensation for victims of the Ayawaso West Walk-on violence after 5 years. In a stark warning, Sam George said, "The pain we feel from Akufo-Addo's violence, his children and their grandchildren will feel it." See, as the children will suffer the sins of their father, and So he says that the president has ignored some violent situations in the country, and because he did that, well, you get what's coming there, I suppose.
I wish that has worked in any democracy. I wish that the pain of citizens have sort of like led to a profound karma for people in power. I wish that was the case, but for whatever reasons he believes will happen, we are here to see it, I guess.
I think people like to say that life is not a Nigerian movie. It won't go exactly the way that you think that it will.
Exactly. So. I'm sorry, but this government is not the only government here. To have
ignored certain
and this is not in their defense. I'm just saying that for every time an injustice has happened on that scale, it is never meant that the people at the hands of that injustice will face some form of karma in an injustice themselves. So, well, he knows what he believes, and if he's saying so, we wish him all the best in whatever he believes. And that's how we're going to leave that, and we're going to move on to our next story. And this is quite funny, especially coming from the back of that story. So I will choose Akufo-Addo over Kufuor any day as the first NPP president, Member of Parliament for Bantama, and Minister for Works and Housing, Francis Asenso-Boakye. Yes, so Sam George is predicting karma for the president, whilst Asenso-Boakye is praising him, saying that between the two, between the African giant himself, the ex-president Kufuor, and the current president Nana Akufo-Addo, he would choose Akufo-Addo any day over Kufuor. And then he did cite a reason why. He said he's worked with Akufo-Addo. He's benefited from his wise counsel and his leadership, and he's still at it. He's still in the business of leading Ghana, whereas Kufuor has wrapped up his tenure. So for the fact that he's worked with Akufo-Addo and benefited greatly from his leadership and wise counsel, and he's still in the works of leading Ghana to that promised date, he is way better.
All right. So question: Kufuor. Did he ever work with
he did not.
Former President Kufuor? So is he using data and statistics to make that decision, or it is coming off of I worked with one man and that is why I made
basically.
Well, I suppose to each his own, and he has a right on opinion. So, well, we have heard him. What do you think about what he says? He says he prefers the current president over the former president, John Kufuor. Do you agree? This has been ABC News Highlights. My name is Golda Abba Dai.
And my name is Nana Kwame Bobby.
For more details, please visit abcnewsgh.com, on social media handle abcnewsgh_. See you.